AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Mark Zinno will be here in about 13 minutes from right now. You hear him on ESPN Radio nationally, based out of Atlanta. A lot of perspective on the Falcons. So look forward. The Falcons are searching for a new head coach. So you know what they say, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. So we'll take a look at what's going on there in the ATL coming up in just a little bit. The single biggest question, in my opinion, that the New Orleans Saints are going to have to address this offseason is what to do with Chris Olave, because he's heading into the final year of his rookie deal. Saints did, in fact, pick up his fifth-year option. And so you have to balance your risk-reward here. Do the Saints let Chris Olave play out the final year of his rookie deal? And then next year, sign him to a contract extension, or franchise tag him, which would be very expensive, or let him hit free agency, which who knows who you're bidding against, and then there's a risk you lose the player, maybe pay more. Or do you pay him now? And you know my feelings on this, and Chris Olave, it was great to see him stay healthy. He played 16 games this year. He was sixth in the NFL in targets. And because the Saints had no other receiving options after trading Rashid Shaheed, he got 156 targets. For context, the next closest on the New Orleans Saints was Juwan Johnson at 102. So Olave, in one fewer game, Johnson played all 17. Olave got 54 more targets than the next closest Saint. And then after Johnson, it was Shaheed, who doesn't play for the team anymore, with 66. So basically, yeah, Olave had a lot of stats this year because they threw him the ball every damn play. Spotrac has projected Olave, his average annual value, over $33 million. For me, I think it's absurd. I don't think you can justify that spend for Chris Olave. We'll see what they do. It's not my choice. I would love to have Chris Olave back, not at $33 million per year. What do you do with the rest of the receiver room is going to be fascinating, though, because you're going to have Devon Vele coming back off of injury, who you traded, fourth-round pick for, and after a devastatingly slow start this season, it really started to emerge before the injury. And there was a point in the season where he had 5 receptions going into the first game against Tampa. Just stunning. But then when you look at what happened starting in November, the win against Carolina, where he had 1 catch on 3 targets. After that, the final 4 games he played, he went 3, 8, 3, 5. So all of a sudden they started targeting. His targets were 7, 8, 5, 6. So they started getting Vele more involved. You'll have Jalen Polk coming off of injury. You'll have some options there at receiver. I don't know that you have many proven options. So my preference is go into the draft with the 8th overall pick and hope that one of those elite receivers, Tate or Tyson, are there. You pick your franchise receiver. Olave is your complementary piece to what you hope will be your franchise receiver. That's what I would like to see them do. The other option you have is going into free agency and spending, because the Saints actually have, because of Derek Carr's retirement, they are rid of that albatross around their neck. They have money to spend. The cap effectively is clean now. And one name that is coming up that's really interesting, because I think he presents a fascinating case of a young professional who has been productive that also is going to be affordable, is Romeo Doubs. So Romeo Doubs, if you look at Spotrac, his projected market value is a 4-year, $48 million contract. The average annual value of $12 million per year. Now, this guy was a 4th-round pick out of Nevada. He's had 4 seasons now at Green Bay where he has been a productive receiver. Caught 42 passes as a rookie, 59, 46, 55. He has been a really productive player for the Packers. And effectively, what you're talking about here with Doubs is a guy that you're not bringing in to be your number one. You're bringing him in to be a productive number 2 option. So if you're going to pay Chris Olave like a number 1, then you need someone who can be that other option. And maybe they're looking at a guy like Devon Vele. But if you're thinking market value for Chris Olave at $33 million per, over $120 million on that deal, really over $130 million on that deal, then you need another option that is more affordable. And this could be one of those instances where you look at a proven, productive, young veteran. Doubs is 25 years old. He's had 4 productive seasons. He has been available. He's played in 59 games over 4 seasons. And he's been productive when on the field. He's also 6'2", 204. So he's a bigger bodied receiver with a larger catch radius than what you have with a guy like Olave, who is a smaller kind of break off the ball type receiver, not really the physical receiver that's going to go make contested catches, as I've sort of bemoaned a good bit here with Chris Olave. I think this is exactly the type of deal that the Saints are going to have to be able to get done this offseason. Now, maybe they look at it and they say, re-sign Olave for a ridiculous price, draft an elite level receiver with your 8th overall pick. And so now you've got the 8th pick on a rookie deal. You've got your high-priced free agent Olave, which you can afford on probably a front-loaded contract, until you have to pay Tyler Shuck. Because, again, that's the other consideration is eventually, in Shuck being a second-round pick, after his 3rd year is when you're going to pay Shuck. So in theory, you could front-load a deal for Olave. So by the time you get to the back of that deal and have to pay Tyler Shuck, if you're just thinking ahead, you're not going to have the giant contract for a receiver and the giant contract for a quarterback at the same time. So you front-load the deal for Olave. So then how do you supplement the receiver group? Well, you can do it with a rookie draft pick or with an affordable young veteran free agent. And Doubs is a guy that really fits the bill for a lot. It really fits that mold because it would be, again, affordable, projecting at 4 years, $48 million, an average of $12 million per. It's completely respectable, productive, available receiver at 25, who still, you'd think if you'd sign him to a 4-year deal, has potential to be a productive player over the duration of that contract as well. The bottom line is, no matter what you do with Chris Olave, you got to get more options. And if it's draft 8th overall, which I would love to see them do, if it's free agency with a guy like Romeo Doubs, if you really want to maximize your young quarterback, you got to get him help. You got to get him weapons. And that's something the Saints have not always willingly invested in early in the draft, as we've seen them by and large invest early first round or early draft capital on the line of scrimmage, which is great. We all understand, man. You got to win in the trenches. The problem with New Orleans is they've missed on too many of those picks. You've missed on Marcus Davenport. You've missed on Cesar Ruiz. You've missed on Trevor Penning. You've missed on Brian Brzee. You've missed on Peyton Turner. That's the problem. Not the approach of investing in the line. It's your evaluations have been crap, which is why you are where you are. So, do you trust them to go back in the draft and hit early? Hope so. The other option is you go into free agency and spend a little bit of money on a proven commodity. So different paths here. I would very much endorse them bringing in a productive young guy like Romeo Doubs as a potential number 2, especially if you're planning on investing big money in a guy like Chris Olave. So one to watch as free agents. We move toward draft and free agency in the NFL. All right, it's After Further Review. We are brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson here in 2026 can help if your New Year's resolution is to get rid of the contacts and glasses forever. Then you go out to a restaurant. You need to get the readers at the end of your nose. You need to get the flashlight out on your phone to be able to see the menu. Man, that's for the birds. It's 2026, y'all. You have options. Call Dr. Blake Williamson. Go for that consultation. Let him explain the options to you for a refractive procedure that can let you ditch the contacts and glasses forever. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, y'all, it is AFR. We're going to knock out our first break of hour number 2. When we come back, Mark Zinno will join us from Atlanta. We'll talk a little NFC South. We'll talk Falcons head coaching search. We will get to a potential change to the red shirt rule at the bottom of this hour. We'll talk some national transfer portal stuff with Cooper Patagna of 24/7 Sports in about 48 minutes from right now. We're glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Whether you're looking for a pool or not, this is just a really cool feature that I would encourage you to do. Just go tool around with this. It's fun. Go to Duplessis Builders website. It's duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Go to the website. Right there on the homepage, I've told you about this before, but if you go to the homepage of duplessisbuilders.net, you'll see the Pick Your Pool option at duplessisbuilders.net. And when you hit Pick Your Pool now, you can choose from 11 different pool designs that are already there for you. Now, they can make a custom pool whatever you want, as gigantic and palatial as you want it to be. But the Pick Your Pool option is awesome, starting less than $50,000. Pick whatever pool design you like here's the lounger, and hit customize your pool. Then you can go through all the options. Do you want dirt removal? What coping do you want? The porcelain tile selection. You pick all the finishes, and you can do it right now at the website. Check it out at duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up her land. She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one.
Matt Ryan was introduced today as new president of football in Atlanta. As I say, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Let's check in on the Falcons with a new president of football. They're searching for a new coach. Our buddy Mark Zinno from 92.9 The Game there, good enough to join us. He's on Twitter at Mark Zinno. Zinno, what's up, man?
Am I the friend or the enemy in this case?
Well, you're a friend. The Falcons are the Saints' enemy.
Sure.
This is friendly.
Right.
You and I have broken bread together. You and I have shared a cold beer together. We're friends. The Falcons, however,
I want to clarify here. I want to know if I was in hostile territory.
No, man. The Falcons, however, can kick rocks, and I hope they never win another game.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, so give me a reaction to the decision. We'll talk about what Ryan said today in a second, but give me a reaction to the decision to hire Matt Ryan.
Well, on the surface, when it first happened, it's like, how many more guys are going to pull out of the TV booth to do these jobs, right? It's it seems to be the new passé thing to do is just, grab the guy who sounds the best on TV because it sounds like they can do the job and they do the job. That's not the case for Matt Ryan. But, I think more than anything, guys, this hire is about culture and vision. It was interesting. When Arthur Blank gave his press conference alone last week after he fired Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris, he had the consultants, the sports firms, whatever they're called, come in. And he was asked if anything they said surprised him. And the one thing he said that was surprised is that they found that they didn't have a consistent vision throughout the organization, a consistent, focus. Like not everybody was on the same page. And I think that's what Matt Ryan is here to do. I think Matt Ryan is here to bring a culture that hasn't been there. That the Falcons have never had a culture. I've been covering this team for 12 years now, and I've never seen this team be defined by anything in culture, right? That's just not what they've been. And so from that standpoint, I think that's what he's here to bring. They made it pretty clear today. Matt Ryan is not going to be the GM. Matt Ryan is not going to be the coach. He's not going to be making any of those decisions. He's here to hire the GM and hire the coach and then, quote, support whatever those guys need. So I don't want to reduce him to a figurehead here, Matt, but it doesn't look like, from the looks of it, that he's going to be making a whole lot of other decisions other than hiring the GM and the coach.
That's interesting. Okay, so that sounds like that's probably the answer, but what's the big takeaway from this introductory press conference today with Matt Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know that you're expecting anything other than Matt Ryan just to inject to be a good football guy at the top of the organization, right? For him to do that, and then give guidance to the organization where it's needed. I think that's, where it really is with these guys, because at the end of the day, the whole point of Matt being here is that he's a Falcon. And he even said it, I wouldn't have taken this job with anybody else, right? Like, he wouldn't have done this for another organization. So it's about the Falcons. It's about him being a Falcon. It's about him restoring some semblance of pride and success to this organization that's had very little, if it's sporadic, throughout its tenure.
Do you think it's a good decision?
I mean, look, one of the questions I wanted to ask today were like, hey, what are your qualifications for this job? And in reality, his qualifications are, I don't think anybody debates that Matt knows football and Matt knows coaches, because he's had a lot of them throughout his career. And he knows what works and what doesn't from that standpoint. So he knows what it takes to be at the top of a football organization and be successful at it. And I think that's really the only qualifications he needs. Matty, I don't know it needs to go beyond that. Like, you're asking him to find a good GM and find a good coach that are going to lead this organization. He's nothing more than I hate saying it this way, because he obviously means more to Arthur Blank and the organization than just a figurehead. But if what they said is true, that he's not getting involved in GM decisions, he's not going to do that job, he's not hired to do that job. If he's not getting involved in coaching decisions, he's not hired a job, not going to do that job, well, then his only real function is to choose the two guys who are doing that. Right. And I guess he's qualified to do it. I mean, we'll find out. At the end of the day, Matt, here's the thing. Whatever Matt Ryan chooses, if they don't win, his vision and his culture are a failure because the team is a failure. And then Matt's a failure. So that's all it really boils down to here. Like, he is in charge of creating a culture and a vision by picking the GM and the head coach.
Doesn't the GM usually hire the head coach?
Well, what they said today is, to quote Arthur Blank, they're trying to land these planes concurrently, which says to me, more than anything, that Matt is ultimately the decision maker on both these things. And they actually were trying to indicate that they were going to get the coach first due to the urgency of it. It also indicates this other thing, and I have to do the research on this, and I don't know, because this is an interesting fact. Ian Cunningham is said to be the leader in the clubhouse. That's the Bears' assistant GM. Now, as a minority candidate, if he gets hired, okay, due to the Rooney Rule enhancements, the team that he departs from would get 2 compensatory third-round picks if he gets hired. I don't know if that still holds, because technically there is no GM of the organization. Matt Ryan holds that job. Although they said today he's not the GM, but by definition, NFL standards, he's the GM, and so they can hire anybody they want for the, quote, GM title role without having to do any interviews or anything of that nature. So they may be waiting for, and any team that's currently in the playoffs, they can't hire that guy away because he's still working.
Yeah.
So, theoretically, they could come to terms with the guy and they're silent and say, hey, you're going to do the job, and no one would ever know about it until after the fact. But that's kind of where this is. And so, you have to wonder what direction they're going to go in. But I think, in general, Matt Ryan is here to pick this GM and then figure out, what the coaching situation is going to look like. But don't be shocked if they hire the coach first, which always is a little, quirky at best.
He's on Twitter at Mark Zinno, 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. You hear him nationally on ESPN Radio as well. So they've already conducted a handful of interviews. Anthony Weaver, Clint Kubiak, Mike McDaniel, John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski. Where do you want to start? Who stands out the most? Good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent? Which one stands out the most to you for whatever reason?
Well, the fact that several sources, across national levels that are much smarter and better than me at this, have indicated that John Harbaugh has put the Falcons on his list. You're talking about the most accomplished coach, the most proven coach, the one that brings the best pedigree, not only individually, but through a family name and everything else. So, if he's the guy, I assume he's at the top of their list. I got to tell you, I got to be honest, like, the more I think about this, right, I think Stefanski is the guy that they should lock in on. if we go back to Stefanski in Minnesota, what we have found out about him is he doesn't really need high-level quarterback play to accumulate wins. We saw he was with Case Keenum, for crying out loud, and they were winning games, right? Like, he's got the system and everything that the Falcons need, given that they have Bijan Robinson and Drake London. They have all these pieces. I think if it was me, I would advise Matt to go look hard at Kevin Stefanski and put him at the top of the list. I think when it comes to figuring out this whole thing, Matt, the real question is who the hell is playing quarterback? Like, everyone focuses on the coach, but if you don't have the quarterback, I don't think the coach matters. Like, does Ben Johnson do the same thing for the Bears if it's Mitch Trubisky still playing quarterback? I don't know the answer to that, but it doesn't seem like it's likely. Sorry, Mitch. Didn't mean to take a shot at you.
Mitch Trubisky catching strays out here.
Right? But, like, the question is that get me a coach who doesn't need to depend on high-level quarterback play. Because, like it or not, you spent the 8th pick on Michael Penix. You can't undo that. So they got to run this thing into the ground like a lawn dart to see and exhaust every option and see if he's going to be any good. And we don't know if he's going to be any good. So give me the coach who can deal and who has dealt with throughout his career the worst level quarterback play possible over the last 6 years, and that's Kevin Stefanski. Yeah. If you give him good quarterback play, they're going to win games.
Anybody else that you're hearing they're expected to interview for the Falcons job?
I mean, not really. There's a couple of names that may come as surprises, but I think Clint Kubiak is the one that fans want the most and that people think is going to get the job, because if you're not hiring the quote hot young coordinator, and back in my day I used to be a hot young coordinator, not on football, but I was coordinating stuff.
Got it.
I was hot and young at one point too. But nonetheless, everybody wants to hire that guy. So it's like, let's get Kubiak because it's the new shiny toy, and all these other guys have pockmarks on them, which I think is utterly ridiculous. Give me the guy who's done this before and just needs better equipment, needs better groceries to cook the meal with, so to speak. And I would rather have that guy in there. But I think that when it comes down to it, Kubiak and Harbaugh are probably the leaders in the clubhouse right now.
They got a timeline for a decision?
I mean, I would assume we will get an accelerated timeline here. John Harbaugh is allegedly supposed to start in-person interviews next week, or maybe as early as later this week. Clearly, the Giants are going to, throw everything at him that they can and give him whatever he wants. But if the Falcons make a tempting offer, I don't think you'll let John Harbaugh out of the building if that's who you really want. Like, honestly, if it's John Harbaugh, be objective, Matt. If it's John Harbaugh and Clint Kubiak, who are you choosing?
John Harbaugh.
I don't think it's close. Yeah, I don't think it's close.
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going with the more proven commodity. But I understand both schools of thought. But for me, I'd of course take the guy that's won a Super Bowl and has consistently won for 2 decades in the NFL as a head coach. I'll look at Sean Payton in Denver. It's a great example of a guy that knows how to win in the NFL, making a team that hadn't won for a decade a winning team with a high-level quarterback investment in the draft.
Right, and not high-level quarterback play either.
Correct, yes.
Is good,
yes.
But he ain't setting the world on fire.
That's the point, yes. Mark Zinno on Twitter, @MarkZinno. Hey, who you got winning the Super Bowl?
I'm going with the Chris Berman special. And I want to see
Buffalo,
the Bills and
San
Niners
Francisco. Wow, okay.
It's about time. He's up there in age. He called for it for about 12 years straight. This may be the year that it happens. Although, look, Kyle Shanahan has never lost in the playoffs prior to the championship game or the Super Bowl. He's 6-0 in a divisional round in the wild card round.
Okay, good number.
So, I like his chances against, even though they're banged up, I like his chances against Seattle. And crazy thing about Buffalo here, you realize that he was sacked 8 times against the Texans, they lost. 5 times against the Eagles, they lost. 4 times against the Falcons, they lost. The Broncos led the league in sacks this year. If they get Allen on the ground, it's going to be a long day for the Bills. But somehow, if he can break free and make things happen with his legs, I think the Bills can win this game. And if the Bills win this game, guess what? They'll be a favorite next week in either New England or Houston. I guarantee you. There'll be a favorite in every game in this playoffs.
Zinno, do you like? We were talking about this earlier, and Zinno does a lot of sports betting content as well. Houston plus 850 is to win the Super Bowl. Is really enticing because outside of Josh Allen, there's no real elite level quarterback left. And as you just said, I mean, like Buffalo's got major issues, especially defensively. You like a little action on the Texans plus 850?
I mean, I've said this repeatedly. I think that team is good enough to win one playoff game, not two, because their offense is putrid.
Yeah.
Like, they got, listen, they got, 17 points off turnovers last night?
Yeah.
Their offense only is good for 1.5 touchdowns a game. That's all you're going to get. So if you can it's a race to 20 against the Texans. If you get to 21st, you're beating them because they ain't catching you. And I mean, look, you're going to get a really professionally coached game with Mike Vrabel. He's not going to make many mistakes, and he's certainly not going to give away any points when they're available. So, especially against a team like the Texans, this epidemic that's going on right now in the league, Matt, with all these cowboy wild coaches just going for it nonstop on fourth down. Like, hey, listen, man, I get the analytics and I get all that stuff, but the playoffs are a different animal. Points are always at a premium. When did we stop looking at a field? When did we start looking at a field goal as -4 instead of +3?
I don't know.
So in the first quarter, you don't need to chase 7 points. Kick the field goal, go play defense, man. And that's what Vrabel will do, and that's why he'll beat the Texans, I think.
One of my favorite recurring tweets is fill in the blank coach hates points every time they pass on a field goal. Like, go affect the scoreboard. Affect the game, change the dynamic of the game, get points. I could not agree with you more. He's Mark Zinno, at Mark Zinno, 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. You catch him nationally on ESPN Radio as well. Thanks, Zinno. Appreciate you, man.
You got it, Matty. Talk to you soon.
All right, bud. Be well. Hey, we're brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters, too. Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Hey, if you haven't done it, if you're thinking about doing a window install at your home or siding or all the stuff I talk about, remember, you can go see their showroom on Airline Highway in Prairieville. So if you're going if you're on Airline, coming out of Baton Rouge, going south, you pass Highway 44, about a quarter mile on the right, you can't miss it. The same company that redesigned LSU football ops did the Relief Windows showroom. It's awesome. Anyway, one of the really cool things that they do there is they have a 3D modeling system where if you're like me and it's really hard just to look at like a little sample of a color panel or something and think, what's that going to look like at my house? Or one window display, they can build a 3D model of your home with the windows, the doors, the siding. So you can see exactly what it would look like in a 3D model, virtually. So check it out, learn more. They're the best. You say it often. If you're just looking, if you're getting quotes to see who's going to sell me windows the cheapest, that's never going to be Relief Windows. They're never going to be the cheapest. But you'll have the best experience, the best product, the best service after the sale. It's Relief Windows with a true lifetime transferable warranty. Windows, doors, siding, they do shutters too. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, and we are glad to have you hanging out with us here. Muse will have Tigers and the Pros in about 15 minutes from right now. When we come back, we'll take a national look, by the way, at the transfer portal with Cooper Patagna of 24/7 in 30 minutes. When we come back, the American Football Coaches Association Coaches Convention's going on right now. That's why there's the dead period in recruiting in the portal, why you're not seeing visits today. But one very significant conversation is about changing the red shirt rule. I want to talk about that and give you an opinion on it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery because they're awesome. I mean, let's talk about what Clegg's is. It's a garden center. It's a nursery. They sell flowers and plants and trees and shrubs, things that beautify our exterior spaces. Who doesn't love a beautiful garden in front of their home? Well, Clegg's Nursery can help you do that. Matt, I'm not a green thumb. I don't know what to plant. Awesome. They do. Take a picture of your front yard, of your backyard. Bring it in, show one of their horticulturists. Just find someone in a blue shirt at Clegg's and say, this is my front yard. What can I do that'll make this look better? Like sometimes there's plants that need a lot of TLC. Some don't need a lot of TLC. Some need a lot of sunlight. Some are better in the shade. So based on how your house and the layout is, they can give you advice on all of that stuff. Let them help. It's Clegg's Nursery. Get by any of the 4 locations of Clegg's Nursery with the best selection, the best experts. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
First American Bank and Trust is proud to bring you live coverage of the 2026 Panini Senior Bowl. Join Jacob Hesser and Matt Flynn as they take off the bench on the road to Mobile, Alabama. Broadcasting live Monday, January the 26th through Thursday, January 29th. Watch it all live on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Our coverage of the 2026 Panini Senior Bowl is powered locally by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Shout out to First American Bank and Trust. Thanks for stepping up, sponsoring the boys. Heading over to Mobile. Hester participated in the Senior Bowl back in 2008. Flynn did not participate in the Senior Bowl, but obviously with a ton of NFL experience. Looking forward to those guys getting the coverage this week. Or I'm sorry, not next to the following week. They're in Mobile. Tigers added another transfer here on Tuesday. Running back Dilin Jones. I knew it was a Midwestern guy. I think I'd been saying they were looking at some guy from Minnesota. It was actually Wisconsin. So Minnesota, that's all the same, right? Minnesota, Wisconsin, they're both up there.
Those Big Ten schools that run the ball a lot.
They run there. The big school that's up there. One's an M, one's a W. They're just inverted to the same letter.
That's a good point.
Aren't they the same thing?
That's a good point.
Basically the same. Minnesota, Wisconsin. They're interchangeable. Anyway, Dilin Jones has committed to LSU. Interestingly, we got the story up at LouisianaSports.net if you want to go read about Dilin Jones. Hunt Palmer has it up. By the way, everything always free over at LouisianaSports.net. He was a former top 10 running back in the country in his signing class back in 2024. So he was a 4-star, the number 8 running back in the country coming out of Maryland. Goes to Wisconsin, red shirts in 24, plays in 7 games this year in 25, but had his season cut short. Turf toe.
Oh, no.
He's got a toe.
No.
He had a toe.
He doesn't have the toe anymore.
Doesn't have the toe anymore.
Because that'd be a risk to sign a guy with a toe.
Doesn't have a toe.
Okay. He lost the toe.
We didn't lose the toe. He just doesn't have the toe anymore. He was out with the toe when he had the toe. Doesn't have the toe anymore. He doesn't got a toe. But played in 7 games, then he had the toe.
And the toe.
Then the toe. Doesn't have the toe anymore. So, in any event, 6 foot, 208, 3 seasons of eligibility remaining. He's the 3rd running back that they've added now via the portal. And, of course, LSU's gotten Harlem Berry back, and we found out on Monday they have retained Caden Durham. So, Berry Durham back. You've added Rod Gadeney from Charlotte, Racine Guillory from Utah, and now they've added Dilin Jones from Wisconsin. The thing about Dilin Jones was, as I was sort of told, they were looking for one more big, powerful runner. And Jones kind of is that guy, 6 foot, 208, and he's kind of the strong between the tackles runner that they were looking for. Jaden Baugh from Florida, had he gone in the portal, would have been a guy they would have been targeting. So they looked here instead at Dilin Jones. Baugh stayed at Florida, looked at Jones, and they ended up landing him. So LSU's now at 29 portal commitments as of right now. I know there's some keep asking me about this discrepancy because if you go look at On3 or 24/7, the numbers vary. It's 23 or 20. We're counting over at LouisianaSports.net the amount of commitments that they have. So I think some of those other sites may not be reflecting the additions until players sign. And LSU formally announces it after they sign. We are putting public commitments on the website. So they are at 29. I'll tell you, I had a conversation with a staff member who a day ago before Dilin Jones committed told me 28. So internally, they are using their number of public commitments. And by the way, we do have the roster tracker. I've mentioned this before. I would highly recommend you go bookmark this page at LouisianaSports.net. If you go to the homepage of LouisianaSports.net, just scroll down on the top stories. It's you'll see it right there under the main story. There's a roster tracker. And so we have all the players from LSU that have announced that they are returning. We've got the players that they have that have entered the portal and those that have already landed at a new spot where they're going. And then we've got the LSU portal additions all listed right there by position. So you can check it all out at LouisianaSports.net. Again, it's always free. The one bit of news that Colin Hurley, somebody asked about Hurley. This just happened in the last few minutes, at least this was made public. Colin Hurley's committed to Michigan. So via the transfer portal, the now former LSU quarterback is headed up to Ann Arbor. Real quick, this was Luke Fickell, the Wisconsin head coach, about Dilin Jones at Media Day this year.
He is definitely one of those guys that every single day is like game day. He really does. He practices that way. He's got the mentality that way. And that's kind of where he made the step up and kind of showed us, hey, this is the guy that's going to take the first snap at tailback. Nothing against the other guys. It's just his being tenacious, his toughness, his every single day, his ability to show us that, hey, he's going to make a cut. He's going to get the thing vertical. And that's the thing that we were looking for as much as anything. He's made that room better because it is a competitive room, but he has, another little competitive edge nature that makes a lot of those guys around him better.
Okay, and that's what they wanted, right? One move, cut, get up the field. They wanted the power back. That's what they got there with Dilin Jones. All right, just after further review, we're brought to you by Supper Club, BTR.com. Eric and I, today's our anniversary, 14th wedding anniversary. Saturday, we'll be over at Supper Club celebrating our anniversary, so hope to see maybe a lot of you there. If you're going to be at Supper Club, give us... look for us. Give us a shout out. Say hello. Love to see all of you there on Saturday night or any night over at Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservation. I don't know what I'm going to get. Every time, Eric and I joke, every time we go, I always say I'm going to get the veal parm, which I think is my favorite thing on the menu. It's a veal chop. It's breaded, fried. It comes to your table, and then they have in this skillet, this cast iron skillet, the cheese and the marinara sauce, and they lay it over the veal chop table side because they don't want it to get the chop to get soggy with the hot cheese and marinara sauce before you cut into it. So it's amazing. The presentation of everything is amazing. But all that to say, every time we do that, I tell Eric I'm going to get the veal chop, make sure I get the veal parm. Like, do not let me stray. And then we sit at the table, and invariably I end up ordering a steak. So that's probably what's going to happen Saturday night as well. I'm going to get a steak, and it's just what's going to happen. But no matter what you get, it's going to be the best thing you ever eat. It's at Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. Okay, real quickly, before we break Muslav Tigers of the Pros, wrap up the hour. The Andy Staples had this earlier today. Head coaches met today at the AFCA convention. That's the American Football Coaches Association convention. And he notes the big discussion was not about the calendar, but the 4-game redshirt rule. Effectively, the 4-game rule incentivizes players, they're saying, to shut it down to get an extra year of pay. So saying, like, these guys are only saying, I'm not playing more than 4 games so I can have another year of college football to get another year of pay. So what the coaches are saying is, let's stop the charade. Just give them 5 to play 5 instead of 5 to play 4. And in the 5th year, you only play 4 games to maintain that year. Just give them 5 to play 5. Y'all know how I feel about it. Like, I'm good with it. You in college? You want to play? Okay. Unless and until we get to a point where we can unanimously agree on something that gives a level playing field, that limits the amount of time student athletes can spend in college athletics, I'm okay with this. Now, if we all want to agree hard and fast that it's 5 to play 4, and there are no exceptions, okay. But what you keep having are exceptions. Diego Pavia, Trinidad Chambliss right now is going to go to court to try to get another year. And by the way, the NCAA allows all this as well with a 6th and 7th year that they keep granting players for medical red shirts or whatever the case may be. I understand hardships happen, but those hardships are actively being abused right now. Trinidad Chambliss is trying to abuse that waiver possibility. And again, go get your money. I'm mad at you. Not a lick. Not a lick mad at any of these people for trying to go maximize their earning potential within the parameters allowed right now. You want to allow 5 to play 5? Okay. But don't think that's just not going to exacerbate the same issues of guys trying to get a 6th and a 7th year. And I don't think at all that this limits transfers or anything they're thinking it's going to limit. I just think it allows you the opportunity to play guys more than the 4 games that are allowed right now when the circumstances allow. Like, you can look at, for example, Jordan Gilbert this year. Jordan Gilbert wanted to preserve his extra year, so he didn't play. Caleb Jackson wanted to preserve an extra year, so he didn't play. A year ago, West Weeks at the end of the season wanted to preserve the extra year, so he didn't play. you want those guys to play? Give them 5 to play 5. And if that's what they decide, I'm good with it. But just be honest about what you're doing. It's not about equity. It's not about fairness. It's not about anything other than giving guys another opportunity to make money in their 5th year. And if you're the coach of the current team, you're not hamstrung by guys only being allowed to play in 4 games. You can use your depth in games even more if you want to. All right, it's after further review. You got a thought? You can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways that you can get involved in the show. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Cooper Patagna is going to be here in 15 minutes. Talk some national transfer portal with a guy from 247 over there, Ross Jackson, in about 30 minutes. Could the Saints do a deal for A.J. Brown? Ross has a piece up at LouisianaSports.net about it. We'll dive into that. When we come back, Muso, we'll have Tigers in the Pros. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
All right. Do this once a year. Today is Darren James's birthday. So I always give you his phone number every day, and I tell you it's actually Darren's cell. It's not a joke. It's actually cell. So I want you to text Darren James, if you would, join me in wishing DJ a happy birthday. I'm going to give you a cell in the 225. Oh, my God, I just blanked. You go to agent225.com, agent225.com, or you can text Darren, 335-7666. There it is, 335-7666, 335-7666. I tell you, every day that's Darren's cell. Today is Darren James's birthday, and I promise you this. I assure you this. You will feel the extent of what I always rave about with Darren James, his tireless effort. He may get 10,000 text messages right now saying, wishing him a happy birthday. He's going to reply to all of them. So text Darren James, happy birthday. Do it right now.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Always appreciate Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Check them out at sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Newest location coming along. I pass it every day right there at the new Piku exit on I-10. Can't wait for that one to open. We'll tell you about it when it does. Wrapping up hour number 2, mute. So, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll start with the final game of the wild card playoffs there in the AFC. Trio of Tigers impacting things for the Houston Texans defense. Damone Clark led all former Tigers in stops with 4 in the ball game. 3 of those were solo. Daniil Hunter doing what he does. That's sack the quarterback. That was his lone tackle of the night. He did have an additional hit on the quarterback, just not in time for it to, of course, be a sack. And then Derek Stingley Jr. played lockdown corner as per usual, and did secure 1 stop in the game. Patrick Queen was on the other side for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he had a total of 10 stops in the ball game. Shout out Kelvin Shepard. Kelvin Shepard got an interview with the Miami Dolphins for their vacant head coaching job. It's Kelvin Shepard's first head coaching interview ever. It comes after his first season as a coordinator. Of course, the Lions promoted him to D.C. after Aaron Glenn left the Lions, I should say, to go to the Jets. So, of course, the Dolphins seeking to replace Mike McDaniel, giving an interview to Shep, see what he can do. NBA action tonight. One thing of note, Tari Eason is out for the Rockets. He's got a right ankle sprain. This will be his 3rd straight game missed. Also missed their contests against the Kings and the Bulls, but he is estimated to return in the next game on January the 15th for Houston. Naz Reid will also be in action tonight for the Timberwolves. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. Industrial Generac generator power. Got a business? Concerned about what happens when the power goes out? Let's be honest, we've all been there. You can't afford to have your business go offline. You can't afford to have your business shut down. So what do you do when the power goes out? You call Arco Power Systems, or better yet, you call Arco Power Systems right now to prepare for that inevitability. In the same way that you want home standby generator power at your house, that's not what Arco does. They do the same thing for your business, and everything's turnkey. They can install a standby Generac industrial generator. They can have it leased for you in the event where they can house it at their property and storm comes, they can get it to you. Or, of course, they can service your generator as well. It's Arco Power Systems. Their home base is in Baton Rouge, but east to Mobile, north to Little Rock, west to San Antonio. Draw a big circle. You're anywhere in that footprint. Arco services you. Arco.com, Arco.com. ARCCO, Arco Power Systems. It's Arco.com. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. A busy Tuesday edition rolling right along. We got 1 hour left to go. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks a little less than an hour from right now. Do want to get you a portal roundup for the LSU Tigers. Ross Jackson is here in about 20 minutes from right now. Could the Saints do a deal for A.J. Brown? What would that look like? We'll talk about that with Ross in about 20 minutes. When we come back, we'll get in some national portal conversation. Cooper Patagna from 24/7 Sports is going to jump aboard with us. We're looking forward to that conversation, some perspective on what Lane Kiffin's been able to do so far as well. That's After Sports Center on AFR.
After Further Review.
Big hat tip to our friends over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Just a day ago, was over at the brand new Rouse's in Central. Also, the new Rouse's in Destrehan opened up. Next week, the Rouse's in Gramercy and the Rouse's in Covington will open up. They basically bought 10 Winn-Dixies that they are converting into Rouse's markets, and they're up to 76 Rouse's locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach and points in between, and they are local. I love that for 65 years now, Rouse's has been committed to being local. They've continued to grow and expand the right way with an eye on expansion while maintaining their local ownership. It's Rouse's. You can go to Rouse's.com to get the weekly ad. You want to see all the specials, or Rouse's.com to ship a king cake. King cake season's here. You want to get that king cake shipped to a client, a family member, a friend out of town, you can do it at Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.